Hi friends, welcome to all. In this video we are going to configure DHCP, HTTP and DNS. Before coming to the configuration, friends, if you like to get my future uploading video information, you can subscribe this channel. Coming back to the configuration, here we are going to use one router. We will use 2911. Here is that, and we will rename this as R1. And we need some switches, so we will use 2960 switches. Also we will rename the switches. This is S1, this is S2, and here we have S3. Also we are going to keep some servers. This is DHCP server, and here we are going to use DNS server. Also we have one DHCP server. DHCP already we used. Here we are going to use HTTP server. Also we are going to use some PCs, 2 PCs on each network. Now we are going to connect all these devices. Coming to connections, here we are going to use the copper straight through, gigabit Ethernet 0/0 to S1, G0/1, G0/1 to G0/1, G0/2 to G0/1 on S3. Also here we are going to connect to these end devices. Coming to the next network, PC3, and from S3 right. We are going to highlight our different networks. Here we are going to use this and fill color. Here we can see one network. We will change the color for different networks. Here we can see the second network, and so here we can see the third network. And here we are going to use the network address 192.168.1.0/24. This is network 1. So this is network 2. Here we are going to use 192.168.2.0/24, and this is network 3. And here the network address is 192.168.3.0/24. Now we are going to configure our router R1. Coming to R1, CLI, no, enable configure terminal. Here we are going to set the host name as R1, and we will set the IP address for each interfaces. Here we can see that this is gigabit Ethernet 0/0, this is 0/1 and 0/2. So we will use the first usable IP address from each network for these interfaces. First of all, we will go to the interface. No, this is not. We have to go to the interface, gigabit Ethernet 0/0, and here we will set the IP address 192.168.1.1. Then the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and no shut command. Here we can see now this interface is up. Now we will go to the next interface, that is interface gigabit Ethernet 0/1, and we will set the IP address 192.168.2.1 and the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. then the no shut command, and now here we can see this interface is also up, and we got one more interface, that is a gigabit Ethernet 0/2, and we will set the IP address 192.168.3.1 and the subnet mask 255.255.255.0 and no shut command. Copy running config to startup config. Here we can see now this interface is also up. Now we are going to set IP address for each servers. We are going to use the last usable IP address from each network for these servers. So here we are going to give IP address for this DHCP server, and here we are going to use 192.168.1.254. Coming to desktop IP configuration, and here we are going to set that 192.168.1.254. the default gateway 192.168. It's 1.1. Here we have to set the DNS server. Here we can see that DNS server. So here we are going to give the IP address of this DNS server. We will configure that. Anyway, we will give this DNS server IP address here 192.168.2.254. so this is the DNS server IP address. Now we will come to DNS server, desktop IP configuration, and here we are going to give IP address. Here is that. Then the default gateway, it's a 2.1. the DNS server, this server itself. Now we will come to HTTP server, desktop IP configuration. Here the IP address 192.168.3.254 and the default gateway is 3.1. also we have to set this DNS server, it's a 2.254. Now we will try to ping these servers each other. We will ping from DHCP server to this DNS server. Coming to DHCP server, desktop command prompt, here we are going to ping to DNS server 192.168.2.254. here we can see we are getting the reply. Now we will ping to HTTP server, that is 3.254. here we can see we are getting the reply. Also we have the end devices, these PCs here. We are going to assign DHCP for these PCs. Coming to our DHCP server, we are going to configure this DHCP service. Coming to services, DHCP, we are going to put it on this DHCP service. Also here we can see there is a pool name with the start IP address and the subnet mask. We are going to edit this information here. Here we are going to give a default server pool is the pool name. Here we are going to set the default gateway, that is 192.168.1.1. also here we are going to set the DNS server address, that is 192.168.2.254. already we have seen this. Now we are going to give the start IP address. We are going to start from 100. Also the subnet mask, it's correct, and the maximum number of users, here we are going to give 100, and we are going to save this information. And here we can see the details. Default gateway, DNS server, it's correct. Start IP address, subnet mask, maximum number of users, and TFTP server. So everything is correct. So here we are not using TFTP server, so we given this IP address itself. Now we are going to assign DHCP for these PCs. Coming to PC 0, desktop IP configuration, and here we are going to give a DHCP requesting IP address. Here we can see that IP address, subnet to mask, default gateway, and DNS server, everything is correct. And coming to PC 1, desktop IP configuration, DHCP, it's requesting and it's assigned. Here we can see the details, everything correct. Now we are going to configure this DHCP server for this network 2. We are going to create the pool DHCP. Here we are going to create a new pool. Here we will give network 2. And the default gateway is 2.1. DNS server is correct. Start IP address we will give a 2.100. Subnet to mask is correct. And here we can see the maximum number of users 100. We don't have any TFTP server, so we will keep as it is. And here we are going to add these informations. Here we can see that default gateway, DNS server, start IP address, subnet to mask, and maximum number of users. Everything is correct. Next we will try to give a DHCP option for this network 2. Coming to PC2, desktop IP configuration and DHCP, requesting IP address. It's not going to assign because this network, once it comes to this DHCP request comes to this router, it's unaware of this DHCP server. Here we can see DHCP failed, and here we can see automatic private IP address is being used, that is in the range of 169.254 range. Here we can see that. Hence here IP address is not assigned using this DHCP server which is on another network. Here we have to configure a DHCP relay for this interface, that is gigabit Ethernet 0/1. We will do that and then we will try. Enable configure terminal. Here we have to go to the interface gigabit Ethernet 0/1, and here we are going to set IP. Then we have helper address. Then here we are going to give this DHCP server IP address here, that is 192.168.1.254. Now we are going to access IP address using DHCP from this network 2. IP configuration. Here we can see that IP address is assigned, default gateway and DNS server, everything is correct. Now we will come to PC3, desktop IP configuration and DHCP, it's requesting. Here we can see the details, it's correct. Now we will configure pool for this network 3 on this DHCP server. DHCP, and here we are going to create a new pool name, network 3, and here the default gateway is 3.1. DNS server is correct. Start IP address we will give 3.100, and subnet to mask is correct. Maximum number of users 100. TFTP server not required, so here we are going to add these informations. Here we can see the details: network 3, default gateway, DNS server, start IP address, subnet to mask, maximum number of users, everything is correct. Now we have to configure DHCP relay for this interface gigabit Ethernet 0/2 as we configured for this interface. Coming to the router R1, we have to go to that interface, gigabit ethernet 0/2. Then here we are going to give IP helper address. Then we have to give our DHCP server IP address, that is 192.168.1.254, and we will save the configuration. And now we will try to get the IP address for these PCs. Coming to PC4, desktop IP configuration, and we will give DHCP requesting IP address. So here we can see the details: IP address, subnet to mask, default gateway, DNS server, everything is correct. Now we will go to PC5, desktop IP configuration, and requesting. Here we can see that everything is correct. Now we will check the connectivity. Here I am going to use this simple PDU, and we are going to send a message from PC0 to this network 2. Here we can see it's successful, and from PC1 to PC4 it's successful. Also from PC5 to PC2 it's successful. Also we will try from DHCP server to any PC, it's successful. From HTTP server to this PC1 it's successful, and also we will try from DNS server to PC5, it's successful. Now we are going to see the HTTP server service. So coming to HTTP server, coming to services, and here we can see HTTP service. By default we can see this HTTP and HTTPS are on, and also we can see the files here. HTML files, index.html, image.html. So here we got a total 5 files. So we will try to access this HTTP from this server itself. Coming to desktop web browser, here I am going to give the IP address of this server, that is 192.168.1. It's 3.254. Just I will copy this address so that we can use it on other PCs. Here we can see we are getting this web page. I will try to access this HTTP server from this network using this PC0 web browser. Here is that IP address of this DHCP server. Sorry, it's HTTP server. Here we can see the web page, and we will try to access from this DNS server web browser the IP address of HTTP server. Here we can see the web page. So from all other networks we are able to access this HTTP server web page. Here we have seen we given the IP address for this HTTP server to access the web page. Suppose we want to give a name. I mean, suppose example I want to give a CCNA.com, so that we have to get that web page. So here we have to configure this DNS server to give a specified name. Now we are going to configure this DNS server. We have to go to services, and here we can see that DNS service, and this DNS service is by default off. We have to put it on, and here we are going to give a name. Suppose, as I told, here I am going to use CCNA.com, and here we have to give the address. So here we can see we have to give the IP address of our HTTP server. Here we are going to give that 192.168.3.254. So whenever we give this name CCNA.com, so we are going to get the web page from this server. We are going to add these informations. Here we can see that. Now we are going to access the web page from this HTTP server using the name what we set in this DNS server, that is CCNA.com. Here we are going to give CCNA.com instead of this HTTP server IP address, and here we can see we are getting that web page. Now we'll try from this network to web browser CCNA.com. Here we can see we are getting the web page. Also we will get from this local network. ccna.com. Here we can see that. Now we are going to see how this DNS server is working and how we are getting the web page when we give ccna.com with the help of this simulation mode. Here we are going to remove all the events, and here we are going to add DNS and HTTP, and here we are going to browse this is ccna.com, and here we are going to press go. Now here we can see a packet is appeared here on this PC0, and here we can see it's a DNS service. So this packet will be going to this DNS server and will get the IP address of this ccna.com. This PC is unaware of the name ccna.com. So this DNS server is going to resolve that name to IP address. Once we come to this packet, here we can see outbound PDU details. Here we can see it's a DNS query, and here we can see the name is ccna.com, and we have to get the IP address for this name. So once this packet reaches to this DNS server, it will get the IP address of this name ccna.com. Now we will press capture or forward. Here we can see it goes to S1, capture or forward, then it goes to R1, capture or forward, it goes to S2, and here we can see it goes to DNS server. Now we are going to analyze this packet. Coming to this packet, here we can see outbound PDU details. Here we can see DNS query. We queried for the ccna.com to get the IP address, to resolve this name to IP address. And here we can see DNS answer, so ccna.com, and here we can see the address 192.168.3.254. so this is the IP address for this name. So this information will be passing to this PC0. We will see that. Capture or forward, it goes back S1, and it coming back to PC0. Now this PC0 is received IP address for our HTTP server. Now it's going to send the request for this HTTP server web page. Here we can see that when we click on capture or forward, and here we can see it's a HTTP packet. Once we open that, here we can see the details. Here we can see that we are requesting for ccna.com, and here we can see the details. Source is the IP address of this PC0, and here we can see the destination IP address. It's 3.254. This is the IP address of this HTTP server. So here we are going to give a capture or forward. It goes to S1, it goes to R1, and we can see it will come to this HTTP server. Here we can see that. So it's requested, and it gives the web page back to this PC0, goes to R1, S1, and here we can see still our web page is not displayed here. So once this packet is reaching to this PC0, the web page will be appeared here. So we can see that together here. Again, we are going to click capture or forward. Here we can see that. So in this packet tracer, we have seen DHCP server, HTTP server, also DNS server, and we have seen how this DNS server works. That means how to resolve from name to the IP. Friends, if you have any doubt in this packet tracer, please comment below. Also, if you like my video, give a thumb and share to your friends, and don't forget to subscribe the channel so that you will get latest uploading video info directly into our Gmail. Thank you.